First, to correct the time, it's actually just after 1, not after 2. The clock in the camera is not yet reset. Today is the 15th of December, and in the interest of historical research, Quackking will have to report from the home of Charles Ponzi. Ponzi, you may recall, has given his name. The eponymous Ponzi scheme refers to what the bankruptcy court in Massachusetts at the time called a business of borrowing money at usurious rates to pay early investors back. This is in the news today because of the Madoff scandal. Nothing is particularly new under the sun here, but what we have is a circumstance where people invest money, early investors get paid back, they seem to earn returns that are above the norm. Ponzi, much like Madoff, is in history as being a very personable, clubbable kind of a guy to establish his bona fides and establish himself as someone who you could trust, much like Madoff with his club memberships in the Palm Beach Country Club and the Pinebrook Club. Ponzi, who was actually a criminal, had served time for helping Italians illegally cross the border. Well, you can look all this stuff up, but Charles Ponzi, born Carlo Ponzi in Parma, Italy, was a confidence man, and he did his work in Massachusetts in the 20s. Many people think that Ponzi is a name and a term that goes back to the Italian Renaissance and the Medicis, but no. When he made money, Ponzi bought this house right here. And actually, he bought it from an outfit, from an individual named Engstrom, who actually had it built. But as you can see, it's in the town of Lexington. One would call this an upper middle class area. At the time, which is 1923, he invested about $50,000 in the house. It had been on the market for $25,000. It's not clear what he paid for it, but it is clear that he had invested, counting the purchase price and renovations, about $50,000. And it was from this house, undoubtedly from underneath this porte cochere, that he debarked in his chauffeur-driven locomobile. The locomobile was, let's put it this way, people who drive Escalades now, or even Maybachs, they don't got a clue, because the locomobile was a real luxury. He had a chauffeur, in fact he had 2 chauffeurs, and he had a locomobile, and in that garage, and he drove downtown, or rather was driven downtown, to his offices, which were on the corner of, they were on School Street in downtown Boston, if people are familiar with that area, and confronted a mob of screaming people who were trying to get their money back, and he paid out something like $2 million. The scale of his fraud was approximately, what he did was he took money from you and signed a promissory note saying that he would give you back your money plus 50% in 90 days. And at the time the business collapsed, there were $15 million worth of promissory notes outstanding, meaning that he had collected $10 million, which, of course, is a Ponzi scheme. There's no way he's going to pay it back. Eventually, the bag holders get left holding the bag. The bankruptcy court makes a couple of interesting determinations. For example, they say that people who got in and got out are essentially creating a preferential class of distribution in bankruptcy and have to give their money back. So it's not enough to get in and get out early. As a matter of fact, you are going to be required to make the whole group whole. And that's something which is in the news recently with the I'm trying to remember the name of the company that went under, but the guy's name was Samuel Israel III. This summer had a similar kind of Ponzi scheme, and his investors were told, even if you got out 5 years ago and you're whole, guess what, you got to give all your money back because it's going to be clawed back by the bankruptcy court as a preferential distribution. You're going to have to make everybody whole. So this ought to stand as witness to the fact that human foibles are one of the permanent features of the world. Shakespeare knew this, of course, and his phrase was, "The fault is not in the stars, it is in ourselves." The house is still a nice house. It stands, it looks pretty solid. And it's not everybody who can complain. In a pauper's hospital in Brazil, which is what happened to Ponzi decades later, in 1948. His name has gone on in infamy, but there are those who would like to have their name go as an infamous epithet, because after all, what are we but dust? A name, however, will live forever. Ponzi, when he was actually frog-marched into prison, well, he was a literate sort of guy. No one knows where he got his literacy, but he used the Latin phrase as he was marched into prison, "Sic transit gloria mundi," which means, "Thus passes the glory of the world." He had modestly declined comparison with Columbus, the discoverer of America, and another great Italian in the news at that time, Marconi, the undisputed inventor of wireless telegraphy and ultra-wideband, I might add. But his modesty was false, and everyone knew it. He did, in fact, think that he had discovered a way. He wanted people to think that he discovered a way to make money at risk to no one. Nice house, huh?